Hello and welcome to this AnyMeeting webinar. My name is Costin Tuculescu. I am CEO and founder of AnyMeeting, and today I'm joined by Andrew Bermudez, CEO and co-founder of Digsy AI. He's actually a good buddy of mine. I was in his wedding. We're going to have a lot of fun here today. It's noon here in California, but it could be afternoon where you are, it could be morning. We often have an international audience. So thanks for joining us. Couple of quick housekeeping items. Want to make sure that you guys are well aware of all of the interactivity features. At the very top of your screen, we really have two key things that we want you to focus on. One is like the emoji panel, where you can tell us exactly how you feel and how we're doing. So right now, everybody seems to just be in the default state of a smiley face. But I already see somebody gave us a thumbs up. So feel free to use that for thumbs up. Heart eyes, thumbs down, applause. We love the feedback. Let us know how we're doing, since we're essentially just talking at a computer. Sorry for those of you that are only on the phone, you won't have that feature. Apologies for that, but we'll work on it. And then we also have the Q&A feature that is at the top there. So if you want to send questions in that we will address towards the end of the presentation, we'll be happy to do so. Use that Q&A feature, write up your question, we'll get them in a nice list, and we will address them. So the topic of today's webinar is how to close more deals, parentheses, using webinars. Yeah. And Andrew here, given his sales background and marketing background, he will walk you all through how Digsy uses webinars to grow their leads and close more deals, and through some of the best practices in the industry. So real quick, we want to give people just 1 or 2 more minutes to get logged in and settled in. So we have a poll prepared for you. And let me go ahead and bring that up. And it's a very quick yes or no poll. Have you used webinars to generate leads? So I'm going to kick that off here. And there we go. Have you used webinars to generate leads? And the votes are coming in live, folks. And I'll go ahead and share those results with you guys. So right now, it's skewing more towards no. Okay, so that'll certainly help us cater our conversation. So that's very helpful. Thank you, guys. And looks like we've got about half of you have voted. We'll wait just another minute or so. And then we'll bring up the slides that we prepared for today and get that going. So just keep in mind, you can always give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, applause, laughter, tears. I think there's this like wow emoji up there. Get creative with the emojis, folks. We love seeing those throughout the presentation. We'll go ahead and close the poll, and as you can see, the result, it's about 1/3 to 2/3 haven't used webinars to generate leads. So hopefully your content will really help people take advantage of that. We'll go ahead and close the poll, and let me pull up the slides here. And Andrew, why don't you take it away? Should we get off the camera at this point so people can?
I think so.
Focus. All right.
Yeah.
All right, and let's kick it off.
Great. Thanks everybody for coming to this webinar. I know, if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur or in sales, marketing, you're extremely busy. A little background on myself. I'm Andrew Bermudez. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Digsy AI. Basically what we do is we make sales software that is very, very easy to use and very powerful. The most common complaint from sales teams and entrepreneurs and business owners is how hard CRMs are to use, and we solve that through Digsy, and we make it really, really effective for people to generate sales, track leads, and things like that. So I'm going to focus on how we at Digsy use webinars to drive business. And this actually came out of necessity. So the one thing that most people try to do is outreach and direct prospecting and things like that, putting ads, etc. But this came out of having to do demos and show the software to different people and how it applied to their use case. Actually, I think Costin, you had suggested doing webinars So we started trying it. We had an email list of about 12,000 people in a specific industry that we wanted to go after in an industry of sales. And we were able to find quickly that we were able to generate 250 attendees for our first webinar. And out of those attendees, we've got a ton of people who were interested in the product. But the interesting thing is, throughout that whole webinar, we weren't talking about our product. We were sharing content that is valuable to the audience, like yourselves. You want to find out how you can use webinars to generate leads, and we're going to show you that today. The most important thing that we found, I'm not sure if you can attest to this, Costin, but is how do you drive traffic to your webinar and attendance? What we found the most effective is email. So wherever you can capture an email, either on your website or if you've got a database or a CRM of emails, always try to capture the email for your existing customers, prospective customers, etc. Over 75% of all of the attendees that on all the webinars we've done come with email and a follow-up email to them as well. So we've tried Google ads, we've tried Facebook ads, we've tried social media, and they just do not yield even close to the results that email does. So that is your best channel to get word out about your webinar. The next thing is, we just touched on this, which is important to build your email list. And that's pretty much the first commandment of putting together these webinars, is to build that email list. So in order to attract the traffic, it's not only having that email list, but you have to have powerful content. Is the content that you're going to provide compelling enough for your audience to attend, your prospective customers, your prospective leads, your prospective partners? And what really the driver of that is driving value. So it just depends on your business. You know, if you guys have questions, put them in the Q&A on how it applies to your business. But you know, who is your audience? Are they growing your business? Are they growing their businesses? You know, are you a sales software company? Are you a recruiter? Are you, you know, are your customers or prospective customers, you know, concerned about attracting and retaining talent? If you're providing some sort of manufacturing efficiency, things like lowering costs, increasing profitability. So that is your angle, things that are really important to that specific individual who's going to make the decision to buy your product or service. You want to make sure they hit what drives value and share valuable content with them.
And just my 2 cents on that is you almost want to be overly generous in the content that you provide this audience. Anything that you've learned through hardship and whatever, that's the really valuable stuff, like helping people learn from your mistakes so they don't have to repeat them, and it helps establish you as a thought leader. Mm-hmm. And that's really what that content can help you achieve.
That's well said. I would definitely agree that being overly generous with the content is phenomenal. We've gotten so many prospects and customers that have said, hey, you know, I didn't think of doing business that way. You guys share great content and I become a customer because of it. So the important thing is, when you are reaching out and trying to attract traffic to your webinars, make it super easy for people to register for the event and add it to their calendar. No back and forth. Remember that 60% of the emails are read on mobile devices. So if I can't get it on my phone and add it to my calendar on my phone very quickly, it's going to be pretty tough. And luckily, AnyMeeting makes that really easy for us. So for example, when we get the email announcements, brief text, great graphics, a lot of white space, not a lot of text there, and the call to action is really easily seen at the bottom. So I'm able to click that, and then I'm able to choose my time zone in case I'm outside of California. And I'm able to just, as soon as I register, click the link, and I'm able to add it to my Outlook, my Google Calendar, etc. So that's very important. We've tested that before at Digsy, and not putting the link, it does have a dramatic drop in attendance. The other thing too is, if you're putting webinars together, make sure to always record them. By default, AnyMeeting records them, which is great, and then sends them to the attendees. But you can use that content. How we use it at Digsy is we'll take little snippets that we'll promote on YouTube, social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, and we're able to repurpose those things to either share with prospects or just have it, you know, meandering in the internet, or put it in a blog post, etc. to attract more people that are looking for that specific content. So what you'll notice if you go to if you try to Google Digsy AI, you'll find videos about sales tips. You'll find videos about using technology, making it life easier for somebody to generate more meetings and close more deals. So
and just a couple of data points. Being a webinar company here, what we've seen is your live webinar really only gets about 30% attendance of all the people that register. Right, that's kind of been the statistics. So therefore, through your recording, you get this this very long living body of content that you can, as you mentioned, leverage on multiple sites. What we do is we turn our webinar recordings into a blog post. We can also post it on YouTube, although we haven't been doing that ourselves personally. But yeah, now you basically have this asset, and how you leverage that asset can just deliver continuous value.
Right, and I mean, when you have it on YouTube and you have different things and you're promoted it on social media like Twitter, Facebook fan pages, things like that. LinkedIn works great for this, sharing the video on LinkedIn groups. It generates this long tail, right? Because what you're doing is, if you have 30% attendance, now you've expanded reach. People that didn't attend can look at the recording and drive value from it. What you can also do is you can share that information in snippets. So the content you generate once, you're going to do that webinar anyways, but now you can use it as kind of like a passive lead generation asset, like what you were mentioning.
And I love the snippets idea too. Take that, a couple of minutes here, a couple of minutes there, because some people might not want to sit through a whole 40-minute webinar.
We might. I mean, we should
do that with this.
With this part,
make a snippet of us talking about snippets.
Yeah, we should do that. So make sure to record your webinars. That's very important to do so. The next thing here, let me see if I can move the slide.
All right.
Is here's something interesting that we've been that's been working very well for us. So a lot of the times when we're chatting about a specific topic in a webinar, it's very important for you to gauge the interest of a potential customer, so a lead that attended your webinar. So a neat thing would be is when you're generating content, like for example, we're going to be sharing this presentation with you after the event sometime in the next few days.
Yeah, and I'll actually also go ahead and share it now because we got that feature. Boom. So now there's the download link so folks can actually download it live.
Great. So one thing that we can see is you can create, for people that didn't attend the webinar that don't have this download link, you can create a landing page, and then people who actually download the presentation, or let's say, for example, they want to view a recording and they didn't attend, you kind of are able to capture their contact information, and that gives you insight into who's highly engaged with you. So make sure that you create a landing page. You can do it on Google Forms, you can do it on Unbounce, collect their email or their contact information, phone number, whatever your business really commands that you need information for. And you can host the files and the downloads just on Dropbox or Google Drive. I mean, AnyMeeting has great ways to do this easily just from one technical solution. But what that does is it actually enables you to be able to gauge the interest of things. So a person who comes back after the webinar, or somebody who goes and submits their email and contact information to view it, has a high degree of interest in that topic. Otherwise, they wouldn't go through that. So somebody that just attended your webinar is less likely to buy than somebody who came by and actually revisited the materials, downloaded them, etc. So in the email page or in the landing page, it's really good to have, for example, an email capture form. Then that leads them to the downloads and the handouts. And a good thing is, hey, promote your business in that landing page as well. So for example, we have a YouTube video, and then you can download the presentation materials below it. But then we have a call to action, a CTA at the bottom for the product. So I would definitely do that, make it easy for somebody to book your time or schedule a demo, etc. Those are things that have worked very well for us. And
I threw this in last minute there. Just as a quick little feature information, because we record the entire webinar, we actually host it on behalf of our customers. you can actually have your recording collect the name and email before it's able to be viewed. So we sort of automate everything that you just described. But what I wanted to do real quick.
By the way, let me interject. That is actually my favorite feature about AnyMeeting is not having to create a Google form and not having to create a landing page and still be able to see, okay, who's interested in my content.
Yeah. My favorite features is the emojis. But real quick, what I wanted to ask about, so you have this screenshot on the slide here of a real nice landing page, which I assume is behind a email collection form, right? So your first step is get the email address.
So that's the previous slide.
Yeah.
So right here is before you get to that page with the content.
You get this one, right?
I get this, yeah.
So what do you guys use? What do you guys use to create this page?
This is made in Unbounce.
Unbounce, okay.
Unbounce.
And then where does Unbounce send the email address to?
It'll send you an email, and it'll, in the page you have like a lead capture form, and it'll keep a list of everybody who's
So Unbounce is keeping the list of emails that I've shown. Okay.
And you can sync it with MailChimp and other things, and I think they might be able to integrate with AnyMeeting as well.
Of course. So you've got this page built through Unbounce. You're collecting the emails there. You're probably putting them in some kind of CRM. And then Unbounce then takes you to this page. Is this page also built in Unbounce?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So there's a secondary page, and you're basically using Unbounce as like a real nice and easy landing page editor.
Yeah. So, for example, I could tell my mother, and my mother could go in Unbounce and create a landing page.
The old mother test.
Yeah. It's just, WYSIWYG. So what you see is what you get. So they have designs and things like that make it super easy for somebody who's not as technical as some others create this.
And then let me ask you, so if a lead ends up on this page, right? So now do you know that they filled out the first one and got to here, and then do you know that they downloaded the presentation and the email and the call?
I do not. No, we could do that. It would have to get a little bit more sophisticated.
But like somebody who downloads all three versus somebody that just downloads one, there may be different lead quality indicators.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. So, but I mean, that would be interesting to sort of as a next step. But first step is to see who wants to download the information. Those download links that we have right there are actually just links to a Dropbox.
Okay. So right now your process is mostly you get the email, right? But probably the next iteration on this would be to know then which of these they downloaded, how many of them, one or three, and all that. So I think back to kind of for our audience, there's all these different levels of lead quality.
Yeah, it's
right?
Lead scoring,
and depending on the amount of effort and you want to put into it and the resources you can spend on it, you're going to be able to qualify those leads. And score them.
And AnyMeeting makes it really easy for me to see if somebody's viewed the recording. So I can just use AnyMeeting. I don't need to go to a landing page. But we just like designing our own landing pages.
And these look great and they're branded and all that stuff. So very cool. So now you're kind of understanding your lead quality, right? Based on, so do you guys also score them on, let's say, people who registered but didn't attend?
Yes.
People who registered and attended and viewed? Okay.
Yes. So I'll give a little bit of color because I think that's important. So if somebody registered but didn't attend, we consider them cold. If somebody attended, we consider them warm. If somebody attended and downloaded and viewed the recording or downloaded the materials, we consider them like warm hot or hot. So what we'll do is when they download it, we'll immediately follow up with them saying, hey, I'm happy I'm happy that you checked out the information, blah, 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 and, would love to see, if you need any help with, managing your leads that you're generating and all of that.
Okay. And we got one, I'm just going to reply to this person in chat. Try refreshing. All right.
So we'll move on.
I think this slide here is kind of basically to sum it all up.
Yeah.
People who download your content.
So basically what we just went over is people who download, who interact with your content after the fact are more engaged, which means they're higher likelihood to buy. And that allows you to prioritize. So let's say if you have 100 or 300 or 1,000 people attending your webinar, you're not going to have time to follow up with everybody. And you don't have I hope you don't have as many sales reps to attend to everybody.
Right.
But this allows you to prioritize the ones that are highly to convert first.
Exactly, and you want to call those people right away, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so we're at a point where we got a couple of polls for you folks. So let's, we got two quick polls. One, what CRM do you use? So we'll go ahead and fire up that poll, and let's see what people say. We'll get on camera here just while things are happening. We're just looking at the results coming in. And sure, there's a lot of, there are a lot of solutions out there. Salesforce obviously is one of the biggest ones. And I expected a lot in the other bucket.
Yeah.
The other bucket. And folks, if you're voting in the other bucket, why don't you go ahead and use the chat feature to just kind of let us know what you're using, what other CRMs you're using out there. It'd be great to see what falls in that other bucket. Act, okay, daylight, contactually, awesome, very cool. So yeah, Salesforce really not all that popular with this kind of SMB audience that we tend to cater to.
It's expected.
It's expected, yep.
Or spreadsheets.
Spreadsheets, yeah. And really it depends. I mean, if you have a high volume business, you definitely need some sort of software. But if you have a high deal size but low volume business, you know, you could get away with spreadsheets.
Right.
All right, cool. All right, great guys. And then we've got one more poll for you, which is really, you know, we want to understand the size of your sales team, you know. So let's go ahead and bring that up. Okay. I like what Douglas said, our own brew of database goodness. I would like to sample that brew.
Love it. It's a craft brew.
It's a craft brew of database goodness. High IBU content. All right. Looks like, you know, again, we're skewing on the smaller side, which is great. That's exactly, you know, our SMB audience. And very, very helpful.
Great. Thank you guys for sharing that information. So as you're generating leads from these webinars, you know, you're going to have hundreds of attendees.
I'm going to keep the video on.
Yeah, that's fine.
Kind of fun.
So make sure it's lightweight. Make sure that it's, I mean, if you already have a solution that works for you, fantastic. But when you're going to be touching and following up with people who have downloaded the content, but then you want to move down the funnel or up the funnel where you've already worked those leads, but then you want to work people who didn't show any engagement afterwards, but you know they might be a potential customer. What I would suggest is you need something that's very, very lightweight, easy for the sales team or yourself to follow up. And that's, you know, it is a shameless plug, but at the same time, that's exactly what Digsy AI helps you do. You can snap a picture of a business card and it'll transcribe and put it into Digsy AI for you. Also, what you can do is that it connects directly with your email, your Gmail, or your Outlook 365. So any interactions that you're having with those prospects are automatically logged to the contact record. For example, here, it doesn't matter whether I use my iPhone or I use my Apple Mail or Outlook, etc. The integration is actually at the service level. So I can, for example, see here that any replies or emails that I sent get logged to that contact record.
And it's Erin Brown, or TriNet.
Yeah.
So
Erin
make
Brown.
sure she sees this webinar.
Right. Yeah.
We actually switched to TriNet because of her.
Oh, really?
Which is very cool.
Yeah, she's great. She's also a customer. So, for example, setting up a follow-up date, usually you have to do click, click, click on creating an activity. I mean, if you're using Act, you're probably familiar with that, or using Salesforce. You just click it, it drops on a calendar, and then there's a follow-up date the day of. You get an email that you've got a follow-up due, and then literally you can just click that follow-up button and automatically creates an email for you to follow up. So it makes it really easy for you to just crank through those. You can pick up the phone, you can do a lot of it, but it's really lightweight for a lot of things like that. So I would like to summarize some of the things that we've talked about. So webinars can drive leads, and they can help you grow your business. Two things is you're able to develop authority with your audience, especially the more webinars you do in a specific topic, the more that people will trust you. And you can use that content to have it constantly market for, on your behalf on the internet. to drive even more leads. So it's an investment more than anything that pays off dividends over time. And you can repurpose snippets of the content. So it's a very powerful marketing tool. The second thing is that throughout this whole process, we've talked about polls, we've talked about being able to download the materials, being able to do things, and AnyMeeting is a perfect example of being able to easily do that without having to piece different things together. So I can use AnyMeeting for, some of you on this webinar are already customers of AnyMeeting. Yeah. So if you don't use that feature, I would very much use it in the sense that those are the people you want to go after first, and share high quality content. Make it very easy for you to touch base and follow up and integrate with your email when you're pursuing those leads, and use polls, because what's happening is all this information gets recorded, right?
Sure, yeah.
So I can actually view, as a user, I can view everybody who's using Salesforce, not using Salesforce, and follow up who's not using a CRM or a spreadsheet, and now I've got those. And those polls are customizable. So let's say, for example, if I'm a financial planner, I can ask the people in the audience, I can have a great piece of content, which is, how to minimize my taxes and become a millionaire in 10 years.
Right.
Fantastic.
Right.
So I can actually.
You want to ask them how many of you is making more than 100K? How many of you is making less?
That's right.
And then you're essentially qualifying your audience.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Right.
So you're able to qualify the audience. What you're also able to do is you're able to get more information. Like, do they already have a financial planner?
Right.
Why are they afraid of pursuing financial planning, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a great way, and you have it in all one system. So a lot of the times with different platforms, we have to kind of piece things together.
Right.
This saves a lot of time and energy, so that you can focus on actually converting leads rather than piecing information together and analyzing it.
Yeah, so I think one aspect that was in the title of the webinar that we should just explore a little bit more is, like, once you have, let's say, a highly qualified lead, what do you do with that lead, Andrew? And I think we're going to diverge a little bit because we've gone through the slides, and let's just talk about that a little bit. Sure. I would love to hear and you're a salesman. Like, I've known Andrew for a while, and this guy is incredible. So what are your top 3 tips?
Sure.
You've got a hot lead. What do you do with it?
That's great. So one thing is we experiment with different processes. So we do have a process. So if somebody attends a webinar and downloads something.
Don't bang the table because it's shaking the camera.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay.
It looks like an earthquake.
Yeah. Well, it is California, but it's not quite that bad.
We do have a process. So if somebody registers and downloads, we immediately reach out to them via email, and we'll say, hey, thank you for downloading stuff, and ask them a question. What CRM are you using? What sales platform are you using?
How quickly do you get back to them once you have that info?
Usually we do it, not to be creepy, if it's an inbound lead expressing interest, like if they landed on the page and in the call to action, like, hey, do you want this product?
To reach out to you.
If somebody actually asks them for information specifically about our product with interest, we follow up with them in less than 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
And that's a phone call or email. Phone call first, immediately follow up via email, and then we continue to follow up. Usually a sale requires between 5 to 8 touches of follow-up. And those are sales statistics. Now in 2017, they're expecting that it's going to move to 8 to 12. So just keep that in mind. Your sales process.
Is that like touch attempts, or is that actual conversations?
Touch attempts and conversations. So
okay, got it. Got it. Okay.
So
so you guys, so just my background's more less sales guy, more technology product guy, and I'm learning right now. So one key thing is you guys follow up right away.
Yes.
You don't let that lead sit whatsoever. So 5 minutes.
There are sales statistics that show that if somebody inquires about your product and service, I think it's a high percentage. It's like over 50%, I want to say, is most likely to go to the vendor that calls them back first.
Okay.
And then there's also the 5-minute rule, which they've done studies. I mean, universities have done this in sales, their sales statistics, that if you don't follow up within 5 minutes, the moment it starts going into minute 5:01, et cetera, that the ability for you to reach that contact and make a sale drops over 90%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you want to make sure
follow up. Number one, follow up.
So the process, so I'll kind of bake in the process. So if somebody lands on the page, downloads information, and requests information in Digsy AI, 5 minutes, we call them. And then we basically shoot them an email right away if we get voicemail. Then we follow up 2 days later with an email And then if they don't get that, then we basically have sort of a cadence where we combine email and phone calls over a period.
And what is your cadence? Yeah, what's your cadence?
Yeah,
Follow-up cadence.
Phone call.
Phone call on
immediate
phone call and email.
Phone call, immediately follow up with email if we don't get them on the phone.
Okay.
Then the following day,
Next
we'll log
day.
another email.
Okay.
Right? And we'll reply all to the initial email
Okay.
so that they've got context.
Yep.
Maybe they missed the email or something. And then what we'll do is 3 days later, if they don't respond, we'll also log a call, follow up with an email right after the call.
Okay.
And then what we'll do is over the next few days, every 3 to 5 days, we'll log a phone number, or we'll log a text message and or email.
Oh, so you guys use texts as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so just to
actually,
quickly
99%
summarize.
of text messages are read.
Wow. Yeah.
And roughly 20% of emails are read.
Oh my God, that's huge. We could probably do an entire webinar on leveraging SMS to close more deals. But just I want to summarize on the cadence and the key thing is day 0, boom, you hit them up right away within 5 minutes. Day 1, you follow up, and then 3, and then 5 and 5. And then when do you guys give up?
Usually we'll try, like I mentioned, it takes about 8 attempts. So between 8 and 12 attempts, we'll give up. Unless somebody just says, hey, I have no interest.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like Helena in Spain is having some picture problems. Sorry, Helena. Try refreshing your browser. We're keeping this super organic here.
Yep. So that's one thing. And then the lead scoring from day 1 is very important. So that kind of says, okay, who do I follow up within 5 minutes? Who do I follow up within, let's say a day, which would be possibly, you have more leeway with somebody who just downloaded the webinar content, whether it's we're sharing this presentation or we're sharing something else. It makes it easier for us to kind of have some leeway going, hey, download the presentation. Now, they haven't expressed interest in our product, so what we say is we just open up the conversation going, hey, wanted to see if you got any value out of it. By the way, what are you using? If I'm a financial advisor, by the way, have you had a financial advising consultation, a free one in the past 3 years or something?
Gotcha.
So you can do that.
So, and then we got Ken, and I have a feeling that's our head of sales, Ken, to say, don't be afraid to call every day. And in fact, I actually had asked our head of sales to share his top 3 tips on how to close more deals. And here's his 3 tips. Plan the work and work the plan. So essentially, if you need to close, let's say 10 deals a month, you need to figure out how many calls does it take to make a close, and then how many tries does it take to get the call. So you really have to build out your schedule around your target. Is that
that's actually one thing that I didn't mention about Digsy AI. So Digsy AI actually monitors everything of the stage. So how many calls and emails did it take you to land a meeting or a deal? And then we recognize a pattern. And then we're able to say, okay, so if we only convert 10%, so if we're trying to get 10 clients, that means we have to actually have 100
clients.
Exactly.
So, okay, so, and I guess that's the AI part of Digsy AI.
That's right.
All right. So
now, we should probably move into questions. What do you think?
I'm going to hit these 2 points. Point number 2 from Ken, it's all about relationships. So try to nurture and foster that relationship as you're working towards your close.
And as you provide webinars, you're developing trust, by the way.
Yeah. And then 3 is don't be afraid to push. Obviously, you have to do this with tact and don't overstep your boundaries. But I have noticed a lot of sales reps are sometimes intimidated to ask for the sale, to challenge whether or not the person has the authority to make the purchase.
Yeah.
Right. So I've seen situations where you can actually push a little bit. It's like, hey, you have the budget for that. You're the director of so-and-so.
Right.
Why do you need authority from senior director?
So here's the thing that we do that's actually, I didn't even think about this, but that's counterintuitive in an organization since we're a sales platform. So we have to sell. Right.
Yeah.
So as opposed to being pushy, what we're trying to do is we're actually trying to be pushy. We're pushing for you to tell us no, that you're not interested. So it's a lot easier.
You're pushing for a no?
We're pushing for a no.
Okay.
Because we don't want to continue to follow up with somebody and invest the time and energy resources on the sales team with somebody that's not going to convert. And it's a lot easier for you to get a no than it is for people to try to pursue a yes. So I know that if they tell me absolutely not, and I'm just seeking out the no, hey, is this something that would actually help your business? No. Fantastic.
Okay.
Hang up, move on. As opposed to following up. It's a lot easier, like let's say if you're single, right? It's a lot easier to go to the bar and a lot less threatening to just picture going after every, if you're a girl, going after guys, if you're a guy, going after girls, and basically trying to get a no from everybody, because that just makes you feel like, okay, I did my job. I got a bunch of no's, but then that one yes is your win.
That's right. So and getting the no's helps you filter out, and gets you spending the time on the right prospects. It's all part of the
A lot of people waste time on things that are not going to work.
Okay, so real quick here, Ben Stoltz here. I'll pull this up. Ben Stoltz asks, can you give some more sample questions on how you push for no?
Absolutely. So one thing that we do when we get an inbound lead, or let's say we generate a lead in any other method that's expressed interest in Digsy AI, is reaching out to them and saying, hey, we're just following up, and wanted to see if you're still interested. I would say something that what we end up doing is we say, hey, I wanted to stop following up with you because I don't want to waste your time.
That's right. Yep.
Can you tell me yes or no if I should follow up any more on this?
Right. And we have a few drip emails that are sort of personalized. And I'll tell you, the biggest response rate is from the one that's at the end of the cadence. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if it's the fifth one, the seventh one, or the third one. If you say, hey, I'm going to stop bothering you, or like, hey, this is my last email because it doesn't seem like you're getting back to me. Just let me know if I'm wrong about that.
Yeah.
Right? That's the one that gets the highest response rate.
Right.
Really interesting.
Yep. So another great question that we ask is after they've done a demo or they've gotten anything like that done where they've seen the product and expressed interest, is asking them to just tell us, hey, is this something that's going to help out your business? And if they say maybe, or I don't think so, I say, why? And what you're doing is you're prying them for you to make the decision whether that's a prospect or not for you. You want to land at a no, but the benefit of having all those questions is you then just really clear the path for an opportunity that's actually a real opportunity that you should be investing the time in.
Perfect. So as I'm going through the Q&A here that has come in, folks, feel free to send in your sales questions, your marketing questions. We're going to do this for about another 10, 15 minutes. I mean, we're doing great on time. It's only 12:40. Certainly don't want to take more than an hour here. But here's a question from Michael Henry. And Michael, thanks for joining us. He is a long-time customer of ours, and great to see you on here. So he asks, if email is the best way to invite, how do you build that first list?
Yeah, so you can get creative. Usually you'll have a list of customers. Great ways if you're pushing out blog content, or you're pushing out, you're interacting on social media, et cetera. Any part of your website have a captured, subscribe to our blog.
Right.
Anybody that signed up for your product or service, you can start with your own network and your Google contacts or Outlook contacts and invite your friends and family and ask them to share it. That's the way that you can grow your email list, because the people who actually sign up, you can add them to your marketing list, right? The second hack is partner up with somebody who has the same audience. For example, we've got 12,000 emails for our core audience. That's not a lot, but we share the same audience for potential customers. So why not partner up with somebody who has the same audience and help them create content for his audience and at the same time expose our product or service? So Michael, I would definitely consider this a hack. Find somebody who you're friends with or that you know or that you could build a relationship with that has that target audience and offer them to do free content, a free webinar for them, etc., and piggyback off their audience. Yeah. So I hope that that answers that question.
There you said, great. Thank you, Michael. All right. All right, so there's a question here, 3% show up or 30% show for the web? Oh, so that was more of a clarifying question by Steven. I was talking about 30% of registrants usually attend the live webinar. That's what I was referring to there.
If you're lucky, you might get to like 40. You're really lucky when you get to 60.
Now, one of the best hacks, and this was shared on the last webinar we did with Mobile Cause, if you send an SMS right before the webinar, that shoots your attendance rate right through the roof.
See, back to text messaging.
Back to text messaging. And that certainly does get a feature that's going to be going on the AnyMeeting roadmap, because right now we send email reminders the day before and an hour before and when it's starting. And yeah, I think sending an SMS would be very, very powerful.
Yeah, a lot of people forget.
All right, we got another question, more of a product question. You know, if we offer engagement scores, it is something that in any meeting specifically. It's something that we're currently building, and we're actually collecting data on what's the most meaningful engagement score. And within probably 2 to 4 weeks, we will be releasing what's called an engagement report. So the engagement report will show you everyone that has interacted with your webinar, from registration to attendance to recording viewership, and then basically their engagement level within your webinar, taking into account things like, were they chatting, were they using the emojis, were they voting on polls, were they sending in Q&A. That'll all be reflected in the engagement report. And I will personally follow up with you to get you that information.
And, you know, in the meantime, what you can do is you can get the reports, and people who downloaded content, don't let that stop you, because AnyMeeting has it baked in. So you're able to quickly, you know, see who's gone beyond just the baseline engagement on your content.
Yeah, and today we've got the poll results, for example. So if you start asking questions like, do you need my product? You'll see who answered yes, and there's like no better way to qualify.
So definitely, I would suggest that when you're doing webinars, you do them alongside somebody who can keep you in track. Like, for example, Costin and I have been collaborating during this webinar to make sure that the polls come in at the right time, that we're able to give a lot of things. Makes it really fun and interactive, but if you look at it from our lens, right, if we just really just put it out in the open, what this is allowing us to do is this information is showing us who are potential customers, who we should follow up with, different things like that, like what CRM are you using, you know, what have you used a webinar before? And I got to tell you, webinars work very well for us. So I would encourage you all to go ahead and, and give it a try.
And honestly, folks, this was not meant to be a sales presentation for AnyMeeting, because most of you are already AnyMeeting customers, but Andrew is such a sales guy. He keeps selling you guys on
No, but I mean, the webinar's a great channel, though. I mean, it really is.
It's the second most, it's the second highest, most effective channel in content marketing.
Yeah.
So, so at this point, I think we've gone through all the Q&A. We've covered all the content there. I want to see if I have like a cool Star Wars video to share or something like that. No, got busy last night, didn't upload any videos. So I think we're going to wrap up here.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Andrew. Good to see you. And everybody out there on the interwebs, thanks for joining us, and look for the next webinars on sales and marketing topics.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. Take care. Bye.